Hi everyone, welcome back to Brain Dump. It is October 26th, 2023. I don't know why why did I say the date? I don't know. Welcome back. Tomorrow, Taylor's version. I guess maybe that's why I said it. Tomorrow's the 27th, and 1989 Taylor's version comes out, so I'm very excited about that. This episode, I started writing the outline about 3 weeks ago because I had a really good conversation with my therapist. She gave me this quote, which I'm going to read in a second. And then 3 days ago, I had another session, and I was not done writing this outline, and the stuff we discussed in that session, that got the ball rolling, and I have a lot to say about it. So, yeah, I guess I'm just going to jump right in. This episode's really about taking responsibility and owning up to your feelings, because you're the only one that controls that. So this is the quote that she sent me. It says, "A sign of emotional intelligence is moving from 'you made me feel' to 'this is how I reacted.' Our emotions aren't caused by other people's actions. They're shaped by our interpretations. Blaming others gives them power over our feelings. Taking responsibility empowers us." This is what the caption says. "We should hold others accountable for their actions, not the feelings they evoke. If someone has done something wrong, the critical question is what's unacceptable about their behavior. This doesn't mean your interpretation isn't valid. It's filtered through the attributions you make. Those depend on the relationship and the context. If someone punches you in the face, it will hurt physically, but the emotion you feel psychologically will be very different if it's your spouse than if it's your partner at a boxing class." Ever since she told me about that quote, I've been thinking about it, and we are responsible for how we react to things, and we can't let other people control how we feel. That seems so easy. Like, that statement is like, duh. There have been so many instances in my life where I was so mad at another person because of my interpretation of the situation. Like, in my brain, with the way that it's wired, I think so irrationally, so this person could change their behavior ever so slightly. Like, literally nothing has changed, and I just read into things that I didn't need to read into, and I seriously will think that they never want to speak to me again. That's where my brain goes, and it fucking sucks. It really does, because I can never function in a normal relationship or friendship without that nagging voice in the back of my head saying that they hate you, they're going to leave. Sometimes I have to take a step back and see it from all sides, just try to see it from a stranger's point of view. That's why I love going to therapy, because my therapist always keeps me in check. The other day when I had my session, I had a moment like, wow, I'm the problem. Obviously, I'm not the problem for everything, but there's some things that I just always thought that I wasn't the issue, but I was, and I fucked up, But I had this just moment of realization and started crying, like, wow, I fucked up, and I don't know why I didn't see it sooner. And if that person was trying to hurt me intentionally, okay, I've got to learn to live with that. I've wasted so much time trying to shape myself into this perfect person because I was so focused on what other people thought of me. I'm not going to blame other people for how I feel, because I can control how much I let it affect me. If someone doesn't like me, okay, cool, I respect that. For a long time, I had this expectation for people, Once I realized that not everything is going to go my way, I don't know, I set a really high standard for people's responses to me. I think that's why this quote has resonated with me so much, because I need to take responsibility for my own emotions, because the other person did not do that. I did. I'll have an idea in my head of how the conversation will play out, and if it didn't go exactly that way, then I would be so disappointed in myself. A lot of the time it wasn't even me being mad at the other person, it's just, fuck, another conversation that I ruined, and I was very hard on myself. We live in such a binary society where it's either this or that, yes or no, bad or good, and people can never find a good middle ground. The world isn't like that. It's been really hard trying to retrain my brain to knowing that everything's gonna happen for a reason, and I don't have control of what happens. Of course, there's things that I can do to benefit me for my future, but some things are just inevitable, and I have to deal with that. My therapist was talking to me about that, just setting new habits and changing your behavior. I have almost 20 years of wiring going on up there. It's going to be hard to change things. It's a process. Something I've been trying to do lately is practice more self-compassion and forgiveness. I've been really hard on myself for a long time. I'm always thinking somehow I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to need to suffer for this because I'm a bad person who did a bad thing. In reality, I can be a good person even though I did a bad thing. Life is complicated, and the way our brain develops is complicated, and it's really all about who you surround yourself with. When you're a kid, you mirror the toxic habits of your parents, and growing up in an emotionally unstable household with lots of abuse and yelling, it's just those toxic habits I have taken on for my own. A lot of them are unhealthy. You're not to blame for what you've learned, like in your childhood, and how you've developed a way to cope, but using that as an excuse is also a way to like cop out of your own responsibility. You can't do that. You can't run away from it. I spent all this time beating myself over what I said, a year ago and 2 years ago. Why? Why do I keep on thinking about that? It's not affecting my day-to-day life. People can get mad and blame us for things because they have misinformation and they assume and don't want to hear the other person's side of the story. This is something I've also been thinking about a lot lately. Just, we get to be responsible for our own life. How you view your life and your happiness, it's all up to you, and you have to own it. If you have a shitty job, that's your responsibility to figure out why it's shitty. If you need to quit, quit. Just know that you can improve these things, but you have to put in the work. And you don't have to be perfect in any way. You just have to try and take responsibility and do the work. I wish I could tell my past self that you are not perfect and you're gonna make mistakes, and try your best to grow from them, because things are gonna change, and that's life. Some people might say our feelings come from within us and nobody makes us feel anything. So I, in a sense, disagree with that, because taking responsibility for your emotions is not excusing the pain that person caused you. In the long run, it is all up to you how you let that affect you, but people can trigger things inside of us that make us feel a certain way. What we choose to do with that feeling is what we're responsible for. I think fault is different than responsibility. I recently read this book, and it's called The Gentle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a great book. The author gives an example that if someone leaves a baby on your doorstep, it's not your fault, but somehow it's become your responsibility. Something has occurred that you must respond or make some type of decision about. Do you take the baby somewhere? Do you keep him, hide him, ignore him? The situation has forced you to respond in some way. You have to. And each choice has their own potential consequences. If someone hurts our feelings or betrays us, it's not our fault for how we feel, but it's our responsibility to respond. I hope I'm making sense when I'm saying this, because nobody can possibly do that for us. And if you're stuck not responding, you'll live your whole life on a loop of never-ending sadness. I don't want to do that, do you? No. Putting the responsibility on the person who hurt us doesn't serve us, and it's a waste of time. A big part of this for me was being codependent in relationships. I'm talking really bad. It was a very unhealthy habit because, like I've said 1,000 times, I couldn't get anyone's love as a child, so now I cling to anything that could be something, blah, 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 whatever. But I would rely on my partner for anything I was feeling. They weren't texting me back, automatic bad mood. They didn't say goodnight, automatic bad mood. What? Why the hell did I do that? Thinking back on it, it seems so insane, but it was just how I was trained to think in my head. I'm working on it, and it's getting better, a day at a time. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Let me think if there's any more updates on my life. I deleted Snapchat again. I had it for probably a little less than a month. I don't know, something like that. It just wasn't serving me, and I'm definitely glad I made a new account instead of logging into my old one, and, in this new account, I just added a few people. I really wasn't using it that much, so it's gone. Personally, I don't see myself ever re-downloading Snapchat. Just after the past few weeks, it's proven how unnecessary it is, but who knows? I could listen back to this in a year and be like, so actually, it's kind of fun. Who the fuck knows? What else? I've been door dashing a lot, and I've never done it so seriously, going at it for hours, and I've made some pretty decent money. I also got put on new medication because I haven't been able to sleep. I'm sure I've probably said this, that I freaking wake up at 2 a.m. and go to Hotworks at 4 in the morning. I seriously can't sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night with so much energy, bouncing off the walls. But yeah, I took the sleeping pill for the first time last night, and I slept a good 8 hours, and I haven't done that in a very long time. So that was pretty good. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Next time I talk to you guys, we can talk about the vault tracks. I'm so excited. Okay, I'll have to... Oh, okay, this is also something that I wanted to add to the podcast. That actually made me really happy that I started talking about that. I just want to share my top 5 songs of the week. Because I love music, I think music is art, and I have some favorite songs. They change so often, so I'm just gonna give my top 5 for this week. In no particular order. Number 1 is Sugar by Remy Wolf. Great song. Great song. Number 2, very specific, but the Long Pond Studio Session version of Cardigan. Number 3, Logical by Olivia Rodrigo. Poison Poison by Renee Rapp. And People Watching by Conan Gray. Anyway, yeah, that's what I want to start doing every week on the pod. I want to just share my favorite songs. So yeah, that's about it. I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Remember that you are loved, you're valued, and you're appreciated, and take some responsibility. It's a good thing. It can feel shitty sometimes, but it's a good thing. Okay, bye!